Nigeria's population of out-of-school youth is very high at the moment. Very, very high. And sadly, this is at a time when we have one of the world's biggest resources, which is young people. Do you know that certain countries have such a high aging population with no young people coming up that in another 20 or 30 years,
global extinction,
those countries might not exist? And this is because over time, they sold this message of overpopulation so much that people bought into it hook, line, and sinker. 1. 2, standard of living was so expensive that having even one child became a problem. 3, women are being pushed to be neck and neck with men in the outside the home. So the man goes to work, he's closing at 8, 9 p.m. The woman also goes to work and is closing at 8, 9 p.m. This need for equality, while it is, in terms of social justice, is a good concept, in practical reality, it doesn't really help. So one of the biggest resources, one of the most valuable resources we have in Nigeria is being allowed to go to waste because we're not building them up to be what they could be, to prop our country up properly. Now, you find that some of the people who were able to access power and therefore help themselves, keyword, some, help themselves to the nation's coffers, have put themselves in a position where they make sure that their children access the best possible education there is anywhere in the world, and then those children come back and continue from where daddy left off, to the detriment of the larger population that is actually propping the country up. Now, some of us had the privilege of growing up during the military era, so we can compare what was happening during the military and what is happening in democracy. Both have their good and bad. But I can tell you that the Nigeria that existed during the military era is not the Nigeria we're dealing with today.
Sure.
During the military, identity politics was almost non-existent.
Sure.
During the military, even religion, religion was not a big deal.
It didn't play a role.
It didn't play a role.
People
Nobody
related, yes,
really cared. You know, it was when, you know, APC presented a Muslim ticket, and then I now cast my mind back.
MK Abiola and King Gibe,
No,
right?
that's even different. MK Abiola, that was still a democratic process, you know, and people welcomed it at the time. But at that time, we were coming away from the military era where the president will be a Muslim, his vice, so to speak, or the head of state, and his vice will be Muslims, and most Christians didn't notice.
Even
because that wasn't an issue at the time.
It wasn't an issue. Yes. Nobody cared, because when they are giving you a military administrator, nobody is checking his religion or his whatever. They will take somebody from Igbo land and go and put him as military administrator of Benue State. So the Idoma and the Igede and the Tiv people, they don't have even enough energy to start complaining that it's because he's from this tribe, that's why he didn't, you know. So let me not delve into history. Democracy has come with its own good and bad. Now, the main bad I've noticed about democracy is the tendency for politicians to want to use young people for the wrong reasons. Enter literally any political party and go and check the group called youth. It's not even youth, though. Youth. She is saying the youth have prepped up the... Yes, because at crunch time, when politicians want to get nasty, and I'm not saying every politician gets nasty, but those that want to get nasty, it's the youth they rely on to go out, make trouble, beat people up, carry arms, fight, kill each other and things. And then when they get authority and become that state governor or whatever, usually state governor, Nadia and the problem they start. You become governor. When you are struggling to get there, you armed so many youth. There's a proliferation of small weapons everywhere. Now you're a governor. How are you going to collect those weapons back?
I really wonder.
Then before you know it, armed robbery, kidnappings, abductions, insecurity all over the place. How do you walk back from there? I've even heard of instances where prisoners are released
just for
at election time to cause problem and things.
Really?
If you think that I'm exaggerating,
think
go
there's
and
a
look
jailbreak.
which since 1999, maybe after 2003, which election has been without
violence.
extreme violence in certain parts. You think it's just a coincidence? Trying to make is, instead of utilizing the youth for selfish gain, why don't we empower them such that, for instance, now so many of them are out of school, but the fact that you are not literate doesn't mean you are automatically a useless person.
Sure.
What are we doing to empower them so that, to empower them with new skills regarding agriculture? Because 70% of our population is in the rural areas. So in the rural areas also is where you find the dominant population of young people. To avoid urban migration, what are we doing so that even where they are in their localities, they can be useful to themselves and to the society? Why are we not helping them to become...
Can I add something about this empowerment of youth? Since 1999, as I can remember, they've had so many programs, youth empowerment.